Jovan, bestie! Yo, I was talking about you this morning, about our episode last night, how excited I am for our podcast. It's fucking fire, bro. My god, I heard Discord notifications as Heath yelling at me for being 2 minutes late. He's not. Belle, you're on your knees? What does that mean? Oh, because I called Jovan bestie. Is that it? Let's... I really need to go to Ulta, but I really don't need to go to Ulta at the same time. Where's the brush that I want? I fucking had it earlier. There it is. Every last drop. Maybe I should change the background. At least just do a rearranging here. Oh shit. Oh, that's cute. Oops. Oh, it's a template. Okay. Hey, Drew. Oh, bestie gonna join. Woot woot. Yo, yo.
What's up, bestie? I finished work early.
Dope. Is it sunny?
It's very sunny. It's the winter, and it is like 50 something degrees. I
Yeah,
lied.
it's
My
sunny
car
here
says it's
today, too.
37, but it feels like 50. I have a poker game tonight.
Oh, what kind of poker?
Texas Hold'em.
That's my favorite.
It's pretty good. I prefer blackjack, but I always play poker. We should do for a Twitch stream, do a content creator poker night.
I would be so down for that. My mom and I got really into this I forget what channel it was on, but it was essentially like celebrity Texas Hold'em, but they had a professional poker player who played in Vegas who would comment on everything that they did and essentially like strategies and hand probabilities. And then, so that's how I learned. And then I started playing with my boyfriend at the time and his friends. And I think after 4 or 5 um, plays, or I'm sorry, like what tournaments or whatever, they wouldn't let me
Hands.
play. They wouldn't let me play anymore because I was winning.
Now that's toxic masculinity.
Well, I mean, it was the early 2000s. I think I was 20.
I I've been rewatching How I Met Your Mother, and it's crazy how much of that show, like that show, couldn't be on the air today. Not in the way that it was. That's
I
rough.
totally get what you mean. So I started working out and I try and get on the treadmill once a day and watch an episode. And so the show I picked is Pretty Little Liars because one of my friends is like, it's the best villain reveal ever. There's like 7 fucking seasons of it, so I'm hoping like by the time that the show's over, like I'll be like reach my fitness goals.
Who's A?
Who's A?
Yeah.
Oh, don't tell me. I don't know. I'm like three
I
episodes
don't
in.
either. I just know that somebody's A.
Yeah. So A is Allison, who's this dead girl that, well, she disappeared, and then a year later they found out she was dead. But now all the girls are getting texts, and it's signed A, like it's Allison from the dead.
Film yourself guessing who it is, and then after the reveal, film yourself after who it revealed to
Oh,
be.
okay. And please, no one in the comments like spoil it for me, because like I said, my friend said it's the best villain reveal of all time. That's the only reason I'm watching it. It's so like soap opera-y, but it's so old. Like there are just so many like body shaming of women, toxic masculinity, even like light hints of racism. There's also like a teacher who's effing his student. There's so much fucking problematic shit.
Well, the thing that gets me in like rewatching How I Met Your Mother is Barney just straight up R words women, just straight up. Like we'll film them without consent. We'll like it's just and rewatching it, it's like this doesn't feel like it was only 2005. This feels like a show from the 80s.
Hey,
Hi,
So
welcome.
hey, how's it going? I actually just stumbled upon your debate, so thought I could chip in if it's okay with you guys.
Yeah, are you here to debate?
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't have major like opinions on most of the things there. The only one that I would love to like have a conversation of would be the abortion one. So I believe that abortion should be illegal in most cases. I do have some restrictions on it that I would like allow, or like I feel like it's okay to have them, not necessarily in my moral view, but from a policy standpoint. But yeah, I'm against abortion mostly.
I'm just gonna let you know, dog. You stepped on the court with Scotty and Pippen with this topic.
No, it's fine. I mean, there's
You mean
if I
Jordan
want
and Pippen?
to, well, who's Jordan and who's Pippen?
I did. I
That's
don't
what
know
I
why I
was
said
gonna
Scotty.
ask.
I don't know why I said Scotty and Pippen.
Well, the important thing is
Anyway,
we
bro.
understood your thing, so yeah.
Yeah, you knew
Why?
what I was saying. You knew what I was saying, so it still worked.
I
No,
did,
for
I
sure, for
did.
sure.
And it's not the first time we've said that. Why do you think abortion should be illegal?
Well, I fundamentally believe that it is a human life growing inside that woman or person that's pregnant, and I feel like it should not be the case, and we should strive to do pretty much everything in our power to have that never be a choice for anyone ever. I'm not saying that like there has to be some sort. I'm against it because I believe that humans in all stages deserve protection and deserve rights, and they shouldn't be uh, killed willy nilly just in case. I'll know it's not always willy nilly, but mostly I'm
So
against.
is this like a right to life argument?
Yeah, sure. If
Okay.
well, not necessarily right to life, but I believe in right not to be murdered. That's more. I think that would be more accurate to what I believe in.
What's this distinguishment here?
Because for example, if a person is alive and that person puts itself in a situation, for example, that this person is a bad guy and tries to rob a bank or something, and this person dies in the attempt, I don't feel sad about that person.
I mean, what's the difference between saying right to life and right not to be murdered? Like, I feel you're trying to make a distinction without a difference.
Oh well, I could be. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not entirely like going full on like political here. For me, the idea would be like when you murder someone, that person, well, that let's go with innocently. Babies inside the womb have not committed any crime. They have not done anything wrong. They should not be killed for any reason whatsoever.
So,
There are a few reasons that if given, I could understand. For example, if it's to save the life of the mother, but other than that, it is really hard for me to get why the solution to whatever it is the problem is killing that child.
so I don't think the express purpose of abortion is the death of the fetus. It's to terminate pregnancy. And so
Yeah,
my
but
argument would be is why does the fetus have a right to use the person's uterus and resources against their will?
oh well, the thing is that person that is pregnant, obviously not in every case, but most of the cases, that person did an action that directly resulted into that baby being there. The baby did not ask to be there. So it is completely unfair for that child that is now growing without through no fault of his own. He didn't choose to be there. Now to kill
Do
him.
you give an exception for people who have been R-worded?
Uh, it is a very tough one for me. I would say yes, that I would give that because I am not. I've never been in that position, and hopefully I never have to be in that position.
How would you implement that policy wise?
Oh, how would I implement that?
Yeah.
Well, first we have to crack down hard on the R word, obviously. It will have to be proven with a DNA test or something. There has to be like at least charges being pressed, or I don't know the correct term in the U.S. Court of law, but yeah, like if there's action towards the criminal, if you are if you're like if the police are investigating into the situation and all that,
What if you
then
don't know your attacker?
um,
What if you don't know your attacker?
well, you don't need to know your attacker to present a charge of R word, or do you?
Yeah, you
I'm
do.
not
Who
sure.
would you charge?
Well, no, I'm not necessarily charged the actual person, but that you can have a DNA test to prove that you were Art.
But if you don't have a person, and I don't think DNA tests can be performed that early in pregnancy. Are you saying like a grape kit?
Yeah, I'm saying like a great kid. Like once there is
We
proof
are
that there
already
was.
severely backlogged in grape kits.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
We are already severely backlogged in grape kits.
Okay, then we should
So
solve that problem
would it just be the standard that you have a grape kit performed and there is an investigation?
for every single grape victim. I would sure hope so.
And I'm just asking, would that be the standard in order for them to access that service?
In order for them to start the screening process, for them to be allowed to have one, then yeah, sure.
Okay. Um, do you know what the number
Kenzie, can I ask
one?
you? Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead,
sorry,
sir.
go ahead, Jovan.
I just really wanted to ask you, JP, why is killing wrong?
Uh, well, actually, I don't think that killing in any way or shape or form is wrong. I believe killing in self-defense is justified. But other
Hmm.
than that, I don't believe that killing an innocent person is the right thing to do.
Why? But why? What's the reason for that? Why is killing somebody who didn't do anything to you? Why is that wrong?
That's just morally wrong, man. I don't know. I guess the same way that I look at someone being racist and I go, hey, that's wrong.
Sure, but what is the reason? Because there's a specific reason why we view some instances of killing wrong. Specifically, like why it's wrong to kill a human, but it's okay to kill a plant or an animal,
Oh,
right?
because
So the question becomes, what is different? Why is killing a
oh,
human
because
wrong comparatively to these other things?
human life intrinsically has value. At least that's what I believe. So if
Based on what?
my life experience, I would say, what I've read, what I've studied, what I've seen, what I've worked with.
So personally, I would say killing is wrong because you're taking away a somebody who's currently experiencing life, and you're causing them harm. Right? You're
Yeah,
harming somebody who's currently experiencing, and those experiences give them a form of agency. So they have wants, they have desires, they have the need to survive. Like they have all of this, and I would say that is missing in when it comes to abortion. None of that is there.
I would say that is also missing for like, I don't know, a 6-month-old baby.
No, a 6-month baby is experiencing things.
Yeah, the same way that a fetus growing inside the womb is.
No,
That's
like
not.
these are different types of experiencing.
What is the
Right? A
difference?
6-year old baby is the world is happening and it's reacting to the world and
This
it's
the fetus
experiencing
does
the
the same
world.
thing.
It's
The fetus does
not
the same
It
well.
thing.
Hold
doesn't.
on,
It reacts
not
to.
wait. 12. Most abortions happen prior to 12 weeks, correct?
I wouldn't know. I think in the U.S. it is around 13, 14 weeks. My home
Yeah. Well,
country is
most
24.
most abortions are done with the pill,
Yeah,
and that's the pill can be taken
93% of
12 weeks
abortions are in
before.
the first trimester.
Okay, that
Yeah.
doesn't make it any
So
better.
these
It
no.
does.
What I'm saying is there is no experience. A 12-week-old fetus is not experiencing anything. It's not reacting to anything. That's
So can I
impossible
kill a
for it. It's
newborn
just not
then?
at that stage yet. A newborn's experience things.
Like like the second the baby comes out, I can just pop it and kill it
No, he's answered that question.
What are you talking
because of
about?
that milliseconds of experience.
No, essentially what
What?
we would
What are you
say
talking
is
about?
No,
what
because
we're
you're
talking
saying that.
about.
Because correct me if I'm wrong. Like what I'm understanding from your point is that uh, killing someone is wrong because that person has experienced the world around them and has lived for an extent, if you would put it that way.
No,
No,
not
it's
has
because
lived. Killing
So
killing
has
a
experienced life.
sentient killing something that is sentient and experiencing life, I think is what we view as inherently wrong. Because
Okay,
these are
so
creatures that express moral wants or needs, whether consciously or subconsciously.
okay
Whereas
to
killing something that has none of that, what's the issue?
so what is experiencing life? Like just to get your point entirely right. What in your position? What is
it's sentience and consciousness.
so sentience and consciousness? So
Correct.
so if someone is, I don't know, born with a problem and they have to be like in intensive care, they're sedated, they haven't experienced anything yet. They're
Consciousness.
unconscious.
Wait, consciousness doesn't just mean you're asleep. That's not
No, no,
what
no.
Yeah.
consciousness
I know,
means.
I know, I know. But at the same time, babies dream in the womb. That has been proven.
Yes, after a
Only,
certain
yeah,
point. Also, I don't
after a
mean.
certain point. Yeah,
So
not
so
in the first
what
trimester.
is the exact point in which you would do it? So all abortions are allowed up until the moment they start experiencing life.
So yeah,
20 weeks usually, give or take.
Jovan and
Okay,
I don't
so
give moral
then
consideration until 24 weeks.
okay, so at 24 weeks, there's a lot of the baby that it's already formed, man. That at 24 weeks, their
That's what we're
brains are
saying.
already forming. So,
At 24 weeks, the thalamothorial cortex develops, which actually connects three parts of the brain to where you're now able to experience sentience and consciousness.
so the
Let
day
me ask
before,
you.
so
Let,
the
let
day
me
before
let me
that,
ask you a
would that be
question.
okay?
Let me
Yeah,
ask you
sure.
a question.
Go ahead.
Do you find it immoral to turn off life support to someone who is brain dead?
I'm iffy about it. I honestly don't like it.
Why?
Well, because I know most of the time that person that's on life support, they won't come back up. They won't come back.
When you're brain dead, you will never wake up.
No, 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 I know, but at the same time, when that person is brain dead, the other bodily functions are still working. It feels a little. I feel like it's not my call to make.
I'm just asking you if it's morally wrong.
I would say it's morally wrong.
Essentially, why is it morally wrong if this person will never wake up? That they will never have a conscious experience?
Well, because it's wrong. Like some things are just wrong. For example, like I don't know if
That's
I'm
not
like
an
not making
argument.
sense to you. Okay, but then with your argument, because if that person doesn't experiencing it, is not going to feel it, then you can translate that into other things. Like what if I take, I don't know, $10 from my dad? He's never gonna feel it. He's never gonna feel the difference. He's
These
never
are
gonna
not the
know.
same concept, like
Yeah,
whatsoever. They're
that's a
not even
really
close
big
to being the
analogy.
same concept.
But the same thing is, you're saying that something is wrong, but
I think
how
you
can
don't
it?
understand what we mean when we say experience.
Okay,
When we're
Yeah.
can
talking
you?
about
Could you please
experiencing
elaborate on
something, I
that
don't
one?
just mean
I
I
might be
don't just
drawing a
mean
blank.
like the wind hit me, so I felt the wind, right? Experience is a general term when we're talking about consciousness and sentience. So, for instance, trees don't experience, lamps don't experience, rocks don't experience. We as people, we can experience, and not only experience, but we can have inner thoughts based on those experiences. We can understand those experiences. It's just like a rule of thumb, right? This is different than just like, oh, I touched something and I felt it touch me. Experience is just a broader term for sentience and consciousness.
Right, so we can recognize that a tree is alive, that an apple is alive, but they don't have a conscious and sentience experience, even though they are technically a form of life, which is what Jovan and I argue is what we actually value in humans. Not the fact that they just have DNA and are embryocellular life, but they actually possess traits that we value as conscious and sentient humans.
Which is
Okay.
why when someone's brain dead, we pull the plug. We don't care.
Hmm.
Yeah, at that point
The person's not
it's
there
just
anymore.
their body. Like who they are as a person is completely gone. There's a great PubMed article titled Embryonic Life and Human Life. And I think this is the best way to kind of define human life. A new human life comes into being not when there is mere cellular life in a human embryo, but when the newly developing body, organs, and systems begin to function as a whole. This is symmetrical with the death of an existing human life, which occurs when its organs and systems have permanently ceased to function as a whole. Thus, a new human life cannot begin until the development of a functioning brain, which has begun to coordinate and organize the activities of the body as a whole. Oh, he left. Okay. That was a miscarriage, by the way. I didn't kick him.
I'm gonna lose service here soon, so I'm gonna listen to you for a little bit, and then I might
Okay,
join back when I get home.
cool. I have about an hour.
Okay. I mean, I'll be home in like 7 minutes.
Oh, okay, cool. That last person didn't connect. I like this diamond shade I got from this palette. It's like such a great inner corner. So pretty. Hello, welcome.
Hey, Kenzie, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm just here to hold the fort down until what's his face gets back, you know?
Oh, so sweet.
Yeah. What kind of makeup's on your eyes? Looks pretty.
Thank you. The chat voted today that I do a dark smoky eye, and it's taken me forever because I don't do it very much.
Well, you can't rush perfection.
You're too kind. You know flattery will get you everywhere here, right?
Yeah. Actually, I joined just to tell you how pretty you are.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Where are
Well,
we?
I'm on your side. I want to debate someone against abortions.
So, I appreciate that. I don't really have co-hosts anymore, except for like people like Jovan and Kiara, who also are on the platform, because I just don't like too many people dogpiling. Plus, I like to make sure that the person I'm co-hosting with and I have like consistent arguments.
That's fair. That's fair. All right.
But I appreciate you. You were too kind. Man, my
That's
battery
my
should.
goal in life. That's my goal in life. Well, I'll let you go.
Yeah, thank you for stopping in. You have a great weekend.
Yeah. Bye, beautiful. I love you.
Bye. Um, I think like what would really make this look good is glitter, but I got nowhere to be. I'm not going out, so I'm not going to do it because glitter is like the biggest fucking pain in the ass to take off. Like, no joke. I always feel when I do these dark looks that I want to be like vampire. Would it be vampirous or vampirus? I'm not sure what that would be called. But then it makes me just want to like stick with blush and not do as any bronzer to warm up the face. Ooh, excuse me. That was hot. But vampiric, is that it? So we're just gonna warm up the face a little bit. My dad is Dutch and my mom is primarily Italian. So I definitely got my dad's like, oh, vampy. Okay, yeah, that's right, vampy. I definitely got my dad's like very light skin, like low. But I'm also appreciative because I did get my mom's ability to tan. So can I pay $30 to get that guy back on? Which guy? Like, I can't make anyone come back. So, I mean, if you want to send me $30, sure, but I don't know what. Like, I don't, come back, other dude that left. Oh, I just plugged that in. Hey, hey! I guess we'll do housekeeping while we're waiting. Thank you for everyone for liking. Why don't we try and get some likes up? I would like to see, let's see if we can get to 50,000 by the time Jovan gets back. That would be dope. If you are new to my channel, I would really appreciate the follow. I'm super close to 40K and I think it would be really fun to celebrate. So thank you, thank you. If you want to follow me on other social media platforms, I do have a link in bio for Instagram, YouTube. Definitely highly recommend joining the Discord. What else do I got on there? I think that's it. And then Jovan and I co-host a podcast together, Premeditated Sin, which is Fatherless, Godless, and Suspect Behavior. It is live on YouTube every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can watch the replays on YouTube. And we are trying to get the audio on Spotify, but I don't know what's happening with that. And I'm hoping Jovan's helping me get my Twitch set up. So I just got the components I needed yesterday. And I think we're gonna do it on Saturday. Oh. So hopefully, my goal is to be streaming on Twitch early March. And obviously, we'll still do debate content like this because I think it's really engaging and fun to have these conversations. But I do also want to do more like current news, education, because it is a lot sometimes to, in order to, I think, continue to be successful within this platform, you obviously have to have very good rhetoric and be successful when it comes to a variety of topics and being able to pivot from point to point, as well as have like a critical analysis that's multidimensional when talking about certain concepts. And so I originally started out strictly as an abortion debater. Oh my God, my cult badge went through. Yay, sorry. I strictly started out as an abortion debater, and over the last year, my channel's definitely grown into like feminist topics, talking about virginity, the patriarchy, comprehensive sex education, and now is even like digressing into political talking points like capitalism and socialism and communism. And I think it, obviously you need to grow, you need to evolve. So I think adding like the Twitch to where we can explore those topics and really link a lot of stuff together is going to be super fun. When I originally started on here, it's crazy to me to think like how I viewed abortion and how I viewed so many topics. And now I can see how many issues are linked to education. Like, I genuinely think comprehensive sex education can solve so many current problems we have in society. And it's interesting just watching that arc in my own education of having opinions in a subject on one level and then exploring it more and now kind of coming to the other side of that. Wow, you guys are killing it with those likes. 45.2, damn. And like I said earlier, I've never really interacted on a social media platform like I have with TikTok. TikTok has really presented to me like unique opportunities. It's weird to say that I've learned more on TikTok in the last year than I feel I have, on any other social media platform. I will say like YouTube has definitely taught me like great business skills, fire makeup skills, but in terms of like social policy, 50K, woot woot, politics, it's definitely been very, very fulfilling. And it's weird to say like, I got an education on social media, but this short form, more interactive content, like even with the lives, the way that it's set up, there's no way you can have like conversations like this through Facebook, through Instagram, through YouTube. That's digestible, that's easy to run. And I honestly am having a lot of fun with it. I've been in real estate almost 6 years now. And I mean, it's okay. Then like, I would rather do that than like a 9-to-5 job. There obviously is a lot more flexibility, a lot more liberty that I have, but it's not fulfilling for me. There have been moments, I will say, like helping someone, buy their first home, or I had one client about a year ago who sold his family property, and he had actually tried to sell it on his own before and just had like a terrible outcome. I really enjoyed helping him. He was so grateful, so kind. Like, he actually sends me Christmas cards. He just a wonderful person. So there is like goodness that I feel from that, but the grind, the hustle, the constant like emotional and time investments sometimes can just be so draining. And I understand what people say now when they're like, if you love what you do, you'll never feel like you work a day in your life. Because there are times where I definitely feel like mentally taxed and emotionally taxed, but this doesn't feel like work, where I'm like, oh, I have to log into TikTok live. Where, maybe if it did become like a main thing, maybe there would be those days. So yeah, that's kind of my thing. Like, I honestly, like, if I could do this full time and make a certain amount of living, like, I would definitely do this over real estate. 100. And I think it would open a lot more doors. Like, if I did have the ability to be on social media and create an income that way, then I think there are other things that I could do too. Like with Jovan, with the podcast with Jovan, I'm writing, which is crazy to me. Like, whenever we have these communist debates, it's always like, oh, what would you do if you could do anything, if you didn't have to worry about your labor essentially providing you the means to live? And my answer is like, I would be a writer, but I don't write.
And now, like through this and through the podcast, like I'm writing, I'm actually doing things that I've always wanted to do. And I am very grateful for that. This has been, I feel I've been very lucky in life to where life has really surprised me a majority of the time in very positive ways. And being on TikTok and within like this debate community, I don't even like calling it debate talk. I wish we could get a different name. Has been like one of the biggest surprise. Like, I I've always been interested in politics. Even in high school, like when I was a senior in high school, I actually started my senior year 18. And it was during the Bush-Kerry election. And I actually organized a seniors for voting group to where other seniors who were already 18, I think there were 4 or 5 of us, who started a group to try and get other seniors who were already 18 to vote. So I have like always, and I think that does come from my grandma having, my grandma was a huge history buff, and I think she passed that down, or, not pass that down like genetically, but I have a similar interest because it was something my grandma and I shared. And so, yeah, I've always been interested in this stuff. And obviously, like, I think Trump's presidency got a lot more people aware and active in politics because he was just so fucking crazy that the strangest things were fucking happening. And it was. So it's just a weird arc to like think about 2019, 2020, even when Trump won the presidency, having these opinions, having these discussions, and now having like a platform to actually speak about them and even take them a step further. It's super cool, honestly. And no one is more shocked than me that I'm here. I'm doing this damn nose contour again, and I feel like I'm not good at nose contour. I feel like I just went on a huge coffee rant and you guys aren't saying anything. Tippy tappy, tippy tappy. Come on, you guys, interact. I feel like it's been longer than 7 minutes, Jovan, by the way. Is this just like dead hour? We're just not getting debates. Thank you, everyone, for sharing the live. Wow, 42 shares. That's crazy. I appreciate you. Oh, damn. Thank you for bumping that up. What? Here, let's brainstorm together. Maybe we need some new topics. Let me create one for. Let's hope Bessie Jovan comes back because I really would like a co-host right now. What kind of topics did you guys want to see today? Body count? Okay. Tate? Really? Do you guys think Tate? Oh my god. Thank you, Middle Earth. You're too kind. Thank you for the galaxy. Fat phobia. Okay. Fat phobia. Tate. Is Tate still relevant? Let's see. What's our newest update on Mr. Tate?
Hello?
Oh, welcome.
Hi. So, what do you mean by the first point?
So toxic masculinity, I would define as the behavioral traits of stoicism, competitiveness, aggression, dominance, homophobia, and misogyny.
Homophobia. You're saying homophobia is masculine?
Yes,
How
it has
so?
been considered a part of masculinity. Because I would essentially say that men have used homophobia to emasculate each other. That if you demonstrate more feminine traits, then you're essentially called the F slur or gay.
Okay, and what was the other one?
Stoicism, aggression, dominance, competitiveness, and misogyny.
Okay, misogyny. Can you explain that one?
I think it's seen as very masculine to dominate and control women.
How is wanting to be a provider and protect wanting to take advantage of a woman?
Well, if you're, when you talk about providing, can you give me more context?
Well, I'm aware that not all family dynamics work this way, but in general, the men going out to work, being the financial provider, paying the bills.
Yeah, so I think if all you have to offer your partner is a paycheck and that you want them to stay home and take care of the household, that puts you in a lot of advantages to where you can now control your partner and actually make it so they have less opportunity to achieve independence.
How? But it's not like we're forcing those women to get with us.
When you want that
So
kind
if
of
I'm,
dynamic,
let's just say I'm like a millionaire. There's gonna be, I'm not, but let's just say I am. There are gonna be a lot of women that want to be with me, right? They're gold diggers. There's nothing wrong with being a gold digger, but they're the ones choosing.
well, again, I think that's because of how the patriarchy has been constructed. Because again, if you like, do you think money is power?
100%.
Right. So if you're the person with all the money, you have all the power when it comes to like the economic power within the relationship. So if your partner wants to leave the relationship, or do other things, then you always have that leverage against them.
But what if you're married though? There goes like 50% of your assets. There goes your pension.
Yeah. So men
So
typically view like it's interesting to me how when we talk about men providing like financial means, that men completely ignore what women provide in terms of the unpaid labor, like childcare, household care, emotional support. And then as soon as the relationship dissolves, then it's no longer shared property, it's now your property.
I think it's important to distinguish what's yours and theirs when you're getting a relationship. I mean, I think that's what prenups are for.
So, do you recognize that women perform unpaid labor within these traditional relationships?
Yeah, like being a housewife is hard, yes.
Do you think women should be paid by their spouses for doing that labor?
I think that should be discussed when you're getting a relationship. I mean, in prenups, um, you can write up whatever you
Prenup
want.
is only the division of what you have prior to engaging in marriage. So if we're going to
Hmm.
talk about like tradition, like typical marriages or marriages in general, most people don't get prenups because there
Okay.
aren't assets or like tons of amounts of wealth.
So if the women are aware they're not getting paid for being a housewife and they don't like the fact that they're not getting paid for being a housewife, why are they even getting into a relationship like that? Nobody's forcing them to do that.
I think traditionally there have been societal expectations of this is how the structure works, and like that is inherently patriarchal, and it has been designed to benefit men. Men have been benefiting off of the unpaid labor of women for decades. And now that women are actually able to achieve certain levels of independence, we have access to education, we have more access to economic prosperity. I don't think men offering a paycheck is no longer applicable. And if that's all you have to offer, I don't think it's very much. If you find your value in a relationship because your partner doesn't work, that's really problematic.
Well, I'd say most women would want to be housewives. I would
Based
say
on
they'd
what?
want to be just based on like honestly just personal experience, but I'm pretty sure I could go out and find that. For example, there's studies that show that women tend to choose careers that require less work, so to speak, or like they go into nursing fields or like primary care services, as opposed to fields that require more years of studying or longer work hours, right? So just based on that.
Nurses actually clocked in most hours work the last few years because of COVID. And I would argue, again, that's because of societal gender roles, and that women have been excluded from those like male-dominated labor source fields that you're talking about.
No, but right now they're encouraging females to go into STEM. I mean, not female, excuse me, women. They're encouraging women to go into STEM fields, and a
Correct.
lot of them, yeah, don't choose. They choose to go into things like nursing or marketing, as opposed to like computer science.
Well, if we look at like STEM in general, so if we look at like technology, I would say that technology and like computer work previously and historically was done by women because secretarial work and data entry was seen as inherently feminine. Now that the technology kind of capitalized on that and men could see they could actually make substantial amounts of money, it became a male-dominated field. So if you're saying that women are just kind of choosing this without any influence, I disagree. It is the influence of the patriarchal system that there are feminine jobs and that there are masculine jobs. I would also push back on some of the ideas that women aren't entering these fields. I hate to bring up coal mining because it is such a dying industry. I think there's only like 56,000 jobs in the United States that are doing coal mining. But a lot of them do actually want to recruit women, but they're finding that women have very low chances of any upward mobility moving to management or like the C-suite. And so therefore women, even though they do want to apply and do want to be a part of it, since there is no upward mobility, they end up leaving the industry and going to a different one where they have more opportunity.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. There's some form of like bias towards genders, but I also would you also agree that some employers hire women just because they're women, just for the sake of equality and equity? So if like you have two potential candidates, they have the same background, but one of them is a woman, I'd say in this day and age, the woman's more likely to get hired just because she's a woman.
I would disagree. I think women's labor is often devalued, maybe in industries that we've kind of seen like as inherently feminine, sure. But there was a study done between the 1950s and the 2000 that showed when women entered male-dominated workforces that the median wage actually went down over time because women's labor is not valued as much as men. I would actually argue too that men have an innate advantage to being seen as more competent because more competent characteristics are associated with masculinity.
Okay. And how do you think we should go about this? How do you think we should solve all this?
I think we should move away from capitalism more towards a social democracy and then socialism. I think that would eliminate a lot of institutions that are inherently patriarchal.
Patriarchal. But do you think patriarchal societies are a bad thing, inherently bad?
I think this current one is.
Okay. So your solution is to demolish the patriarchy and rebuild the society on socialism?
Yes.
But I just don't understand how socialism would destroy the toxic masculinity or the gender biases. I don't understand. I think that's more like economical.
Well, I think it's very multidimensional. If you want to look at certain aspects of it, we certainly can. I do think that socialism ultimately would create a society to where women can be less dependent on men because men in this current society have more economic opportunity. I think as well, like even within kind of the economic space in general, if there's like certain edits we can make with our current society, like offering paternity, or excuse me, parental leave would eliminate a lot of gender bias when it comes to women applying for jobs. Because if men were to take the same time off as a woman were when they birth of a child, then men would be considered just as quote unquote unreliable if the family were to grow. Where I think men are typically hired because then the company knows they won't take maternity leave. They won't be the primary one who has to deal with childcare, and that kind of bias is in women's way. So that form of capitalism, I think, creates barriers for women.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I'm not like well versed. You're obviously like well informed. Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, I would have to look into this more. But going back into the masculinity, do you think there's good parts of masculinity? Do you think society could be benefit for men being more masculine?
I think the constructs of masculinity and femininity don't serve a purpose. I think they put genders in a box of how they're supposed to societally perform. And I think society would be better just eliminating those boxes.
Okay, but do you believe men and women could be masculine too? I personally think it's not um, exclusive to just one gender. But do you think it is or no?
No, I think anyone can possess certain character traits. Like for me myself, I have been, in terms of my personality, uh, a lot of people have told me it's very inherently masculine, and because
Hmm.
I'm a woman, it doesn't bode well for me.
See, I disagree. I think there's nothing wrong with women being masculine. I think masculine in the sense of being a provider, protector, stoic, that's good for society. I think the lack of masculinity is one of the main problems we have in our society, right? That's why we have a lot of deadbeat dads, right? They don't want to be providers. That's why we have a lot of grapers, right? They don't have impulse control. That's why
Well,
we have school
rape,
shooters. They don't.
rape, I would argue, is a result of toxic masculinity. And again, like I think you just kind of prove my point that you see masculinity as inherently superior to femininity. And no, so if we look at these certain social constructs with how women behave and how men behave, when women behave like men, it's seen as a negative light. If a man is assertive, he's a boss. If a woman is assertive, she is a bitch. If a man chooses to be single, he's a bachelor. If a woman chooses to be single, she's a crazy cat lady. If a man chooses to have high sexual prowess, he's a player. He's a pimp. But if a woman does, she's a slut. She's a whore. So no, women having masculine behavior is definitely very much demonized.
I think we should fix that. I agree. There are a lot of bunch of double standards. But if we were to fix that, I truly believe we would benefit from uh, being more masculine. But yeah, I agree. There are a bunch of double
I
standards
think
that
there
benefit
are
women.
traits that are prescribed to masculinity that are good traits, like rationality, but men are not more rational than women, which is why I think this social construct of masculinity and femininity is antiquated. Again, I think it is derived from the patriarchy so that men can be superior and that women can be viewed as inferior, so that men can maintain dominance and women have to essentially submit.
Okay. And what are your thoughts? Just curious on like gender roles.
I think they should be abolished.
Do you think, generally speaking, women probably fall into one category better than men? Like, do you think women in general are more not submissive, but more caring and emotional than men, which is why
Um,
probably most like caregivers are women.
Only because of the patriarchy and how men and women are socially conditioned as boys and girls.
Okay. Well,
To give you an example, this is from The Will to Change, Masculinity, Men, Masculinity, and Love. The first act of violence the patriarchy demands of males is not violence towards women. Instead, patriarchy demands of all males that they engage in acts of psychic self-mutilation, that they kill off the emotional parts of themselves. If an individual is not successful in emotionally crippling himself, he can count on patriarchal men to enact rituals of power that will assault his self-esteem.
Interesting. I will agree. Yes, society has a lot to do with it, but I would also say biologically we are like, on average, men have more testosterone, and having more testosterone makes you more aggressive. It makes you more energetic, makes you more assertive.
No, because if that were true, then we would see that characteristic trait in all men, and we don't. We see men can be very sensitive, can be very emotional. I think there obviously is like some biological influence on that, but overall, I think it's definitely manifested in social behavior. If we look at testosterone, I would agree with you that that's definitely in place for self-preservation and self-defense. But if we look at violence or aggressive behaviors like domestic violence or sexual assault, those are very much learned behaviors.
Okay, interesting. Well, you taught me a lot today. I did not know any of these things.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you being open to listening. I don't feel I get many. I shouldn't say that. It's not often I get people who listen.
That's all
Men who
good.
listen.
Oh yeah, thank you.
You're
Yeah, I'm
welcome.
gonna have to
Thank you
look
for
into this
joining.
because I did not know any of these things. I did not see things from that perspective. It's interesting.
Well, I appreciate you being open-minded and willing to accept new information.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Kenzie.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
I feel like Jovan stood me up, y'all.
Whistle, I should make you a mod. I don't know why you're not a mod. Hello, welcome.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
So, what do you want to debate about? I'm going to debate anything with you if you wish. I'll let you decide since you're the host.
Well, I mean, you joined whatever topic you gravitate towards most.
Well, I can talk about any of them, but since I wish I would let you to choose. Just to spice things up a bit.
Oh, okay. Abortion?
Okay, yeah. I would say abortion should be legal at a certain age of the development of the fetus, I would say.
Okay. What else do
Because
you want?
in my opinion, like,
So do you disagree that abortion should be legal?
no, I don't disagree that abortion should be legal. I think it should be legal, shouldn't be legal at a certain point of the pregnancy.
What point is that?
I would say like when the baby has developed a human identity.
Okay. I'm
Like
fine
I
with
would
that take.
say,
What else did you want to talk about?
because like well, what is your definition of toxic masculinity?
Stoicism, competitiveness, aggression, dominance, misogyny, and homophobia.
Okay. Do you so do you view all masculinity or just that as toxic?
That is what I would define as toxic behavior.
Okay. So like in general, masculinity itself is not toxic, but only certain parts of masculinity is toxic.
Correct.
Okay. I would agree with that. What about feminism? Do you think feminism can be toxic too?
Sure.
What would you say is toxic feminism in your opinion?
I think in order for feminism to have the best outcomes, that there does need to be a space for men. I think there definitely can be an analysis as well as complaints that we have with men, but I certainly don't want it to be necessarily a full anti-men narrative to where men are not included within feminism. And then I would say also when it comes to kind of the idea on how women are supposed to act when it comes to sex, I think that there has been a part of feminism that says in order for women to be liberated sexually, we have to have sex like a man. And I disagree with
Mhm.
that. I think women need to curate our own identity on how we have sex. We don't have to have the prescribed one given to us by men, but we don't have to act like men in order to experience sexual liberation. Because I still think within current society, I should say heterosexual sex, is not very female focused.
That's
I
that's
don't think the
actually,
pleasure, as well as certain aspects of women's needs within intimacy and sex, are at the forefront.
yeah, that's true. But I do believe that it is a choice if you wish to go through with this idea. Like, for instance, if you choose to have intercourse before marriage, it is at the end of the day, you can't really decide like, who should do it and who should not. It should be choice.
I agree with that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I think when it comes
No,
to
no.
men, men have been given this expectation that they are to be very emotionally detached from sex, which I think a lot of like prominent male figures who kind of uphold these traditional ideas have really harmful takes when it comes to how men feel about sex, that it's equivalent to like going to the bathroom, that it's expected that men will cheat and not be monogamous. Um, and I don't think as
Yeah,
women that we need to follow that narrative, that in order to be liberated from the patriarchal prescription of how we interact with men, we need to start acting like men. I don't
yes,
think
that's
many
true.
men really care about their partner's experience in terms of intimacy or even sexual pleasure.
Yeah, well, that's very true. I agree with you.
Great.
Okay, I gotta go. My battery's shutting me down.
Okay. Have a great weekend. I wish that TikTok would. Some of these updates I like, and some of them I don't. Like, I definitely like this new green screen update. I don't like the guest request updates that they've made. I wish they would keep people in order of requests, and I wish they would show me been in requests. They don't show me that anymore, and I don't understand why. Because I feel like people long are put to the top of the list, and I just want to go, you know, whatever.
That
Hello.
I did not mean to do that.
Oh.
I am so
Yeah, you've
sorry.
been in request a while. Okay, good. I'm glad you weren't.
Oh my gosh, I'm still here. I just don't know how to get out of here. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'll abort you.
MILFs love my car.
A guy in my who I absolutely adore who has a car profile pic, and I always give him shit because I say like, don't trust car profile pics. Some of the worst debates I've had have been with car profile pics.
Hello, no. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Uh, so I just wanted to ask a couple questions if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So with the couple guys back, I heard y'all talk about women getting paid for being a housewife. I don't know if you were just like bringing that up as like a topic or if you thought that that's how it should be. I just wanted to like ask about that.
I think men need to actually acknowledge that there is economic value in the unpaid labor that women are performing if they are essentially in charge of household responsibilities. The example that I like to give is if you know you someone was married and they had a wife, you had two kids, and then that wife passed away when she was a stay-at-home mom, that you would essentially have to outsource all of the tasks that she was performing. You would have to hire a maid, a nanny, a cook, a house planner, a financial advisor. And if you were essentially, if anyone else performs the tasks that the stay at home wife or stay at home mom is, that has economic value.
Okay, so what
And I would argue that would be a big bill.
Okay, I mean, I can understand that. What would be Like would those like labor tasks be like cleaning and stuff like that?
Yeah, cleaning, cooking, family planning, childcare, laundry, stuff like that.
Okay. I mean, I can understand that. I mean, so but the other thing is, do you think that body count matters?
I
Like
don't think
like
it should matter.
okay, like in like what do you mean? Like do you think that guys shouldn't care whenever it comes to them setting a standard like that, or
Yes, I think if they do set a standard for body count, it's misogynistic.
okay, so I don't agree with that because I feel like whenever you a woman gives her standards, she wants a guy that's 6 foot or taller. She wants a guy that is attractive, and she wants a guy who makes over 100,000 a year. But whenever it comes to a guy setting his standards, it's misogynistic. Whenever it's his standards, it should be because whenever it comes to standards, it's who he wants to be with. So I just feel like
I
saying
think
that it's
we need to
misogynistic.
I think we need to look at the origins of these standards. So if women want a man who is rich or a financial provider, that is a result of capitalism. Because if we did not live in a capitalistic society, if money didn't matter, then what would men provide at that time? I would also argue that men very much have standards of beauty or physical appearance that women do. Men value youth. Men value inexperience, and I think they value these things because it's easier for them to maintain control within a relationship. So yeah, women have these preferences. I would argue because we live in a capitalistic society where men have these preferences because of misogyny. So it's not the same origin, which is why it makes it different.
Well, I feel like you're trying to label it down as trying to be in control when in honestly it's if I were to be with like if I were to be talking to a female and she tells me that she slept with 20 to 30 guys, that's just a number. Um and I'm making, the over 100,000 a year or something like that. Why would I push towards being with someone like that when whenever it's the standards that I set for myself? Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's who I want to be with. If I want a girl that has,
Because I just think that's so superficial. You're essentially saying that because she is engaged in sex with multiple partners, that there's some kind of immoral action or something wrong with how she is behaving, where I would argue that that's just not necessarily synonymous.
I don't think
And I think you're ignoring that this person could be very loving. This person could be very compatible. This person can have the same goals as you, hold the same cultural values as you. But you, again, I think wanting a low body count is, again, just a way of men wanting to control their partner's behavior. If you haven't behaved in this specific way that makes me feel empowered as a man, then I don't want you as a partner. And this is behavior in the past. This is even how she's currently treating you.
so. Do you think that it's okay that if a man isn't over 6 foot or decent looking or doesn't make over $100,000, it's okay for a woman to not even look at him in that way, or do
So
you
the
think?
system that I am promoting would actually make it so that those traits are not necessarily top of the pyramid anymore. If we move to like socialism and communism, then no, we wouldn't see men making a lot of money as a value that they can provide to women. I would also argue that women have this preference of dating tall men because being bigger has been seen as masculine, and when you're smaller than your partner, you're seen as feminine. And I also advocate that we get rid of these kind of social constructs because I think it just puts limitations on us. So the two things I advocate would actually change certain standards or desires of women.
So you're saying that do you think that it's okay for women to have these standards on men? or do you think that it shouldn't be a thing?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't think it's necessarily a need out of control for men. We live in a very materialistic world, so if a woman wants like a rich husband, I think that relationship can be very transactional, which I would say is ultimately superficial. But I think it's very different having transactional qualities rather than like controlling or inferior, a mindset that your partner is inferior and you want power within the relationship.
Okay, so why would it matter what anyone's standards are if that's their standards? Like I'm not all men are like that,
Again,
but
I
I'm just
again,
saying.
I think you need to dissect origins. Like I just told you, women value men who make money because we live in a capitalistic society. In order to survive, money is a tool that provides you power in order to gain a lot of advantages and a lot of needs that we have within life. If we didn't live in that kind of society, then men having money would no longer matter. And I ask, like commonly, if we look at Andrew Tate, if we look at Myron Gaines, if we look at that other guy who does Fresh and Fit, if your money didn't matter, what would you have to offer?
So do you think that men are just a checkbook?
No, I think men have prescribed themselves to be just a checkbook. I think men who only have their paycheck to offer have very little to offer.
I mean, I agree with that. I feel like a man shouldn't just have a paycheck to offer, but I just feel like if you're gonna sit here and say that a woman is okay to have her standards whenever, if you actually look it up, 14.5% of men in the U.S. are 6 feet or taller. And if you
Again,
actually
I
think,
told you that the system that I'm advocating for would change those certain preferences. And I feel you're completely ignoring what I said on that. And I think you're completely ignoring how we look at the origin of the preference or the condition that we have of our partners.
I mean, if you would have let me finish, you can understand where I was going with that.
You've said the same thing over and over. You're just
Okay,
restating your
yeah,
claim.
but so why is it okay for women to have standards but men can't? And it's misogynistic for a man to have standards. If I don't
I
want a girl
have
that's over
literally
a certain
explained that
weight,
to
if I don't
you.
want a girl that's over a certain weight or a certain body
I
count,
have
then what's the problem?
literally explained that to you 2 or 3 times, and you just keep asking the same question over and over. I don't know what you're not grasping.
You literally just said it's okay for a woman to have standards, but it's misogynistic for a man to have those standards.
I'm saying the standards that men have are due to misogyny, where the standards that women have are either due to capitalism or due to the system that men have set up.
Why can't we just label it as a standards?
Because why? Like, why are you asking a question to be like, what's the difference here? What's the meaningful difference? Then I give you the meaningful difference, and then you're like, well, what does the meaningful difference matter? Like, which is it?
Because you're labeling as women's standards are from capitalism, but if I don't want to go with high body count, it's misogynistic, is what you're telling
It
me.
is. It is because you want to control
No,
certain
it's not. That's
social
my
behaviors that
standard.
she has. It
You
is.
shouldn't
You
criticize
absolutely
me
do. What does it matter to you how many penises your girlfriend has had in her? Does it
because I'd
make you
rather
feel
not go to a
emasculated? Does
bar.
it make you feel like she is less of yours?
I'd rather not go to a bar and have that she's been to before and have 6 different guys walk up and say that she slept with her, because I feel
Do
like
men
that's
do
just
that?
yes, it's actually a thing. It's actually a thing.
Bro, come on.
How are you gonna ask me the question whenever I give you the answer? You're gonna be, bro, come on.
Because men don't do that.
Yes, they do.
Do women do that? Do women go up to other women and be
I'm
like,
not a
yo, I fucked
woman.
your
I couldn't
man?
tell you. I'm not a woman. I couldn't tell
But
you.
you're a man, don't you see these things?
What? I didn't hear you. What?
You're a man, don't you see these things? I mean, obviously you see like so when you see a girl you've had sex with, do you like go up to her and her boyfriend and be like, yo, bro, I fucked your girl? Like what's the fucking point in that?
It's just a certain thing. It's
Is
male
it to like
dominance.
dominate over
Whenever,
him to be sure like, yeah, I'm the alpha? Like what's the point in that?
yes, that is a man. That is a thing that men do.
That's fucking toxic.
I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying, but that is
Then
a
you've
thing that
answered
men
your
do.
own question. You have answered your own question. That men going up to other men to say, I have had sex with your girl, is to emasculate them and to slut shame her is toxic.
When did I ever say that it wasn't?
Then I don't know why you're saying like it's cool that I don't like. Why would you advocate that women now have to fix this system where men act poorly?
Why does a woman have to fix it? I'm just saying, why does it
You
matter what the
are, you are.
standards
You're
are?
saying women just shouldn't engage in that behavior because then shitty men won't come up and do shitty things.
No, if it's a woman's choice, that's a woman's choice to do it. But whenever it comes to a standard, it
It's a
shouldn't
woman's
matter.
choice. It's a woman's.
Down here.
You think you can give me like a solid 2 minutes? I'm changing my son's diaper.
I only have 15 more minutes, so I'm sorry. I normally would, but I can't right now
It's
because I'm just
okay.
pressed on time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know how to leave, so please kick me.
It's okay.
Congratulations, by the way. Way to do the work. I feel like you've been in here a while.
Arguing on why I don't think abortion should be legal.
Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so I don't think abortion should be legal because people can make stupid decisions, but I do believe that there should be exceptions for certain people, like if you were a victim of RAPE, SA, like, or like if it's like a life or death situation for the mother. But other than that, I don't believe that they should have the option, or like if you can't financially support, but like other than that, that's not really, like, it shouldn't be illegal. When I said stupid decisions, I mean like imagine people have sex and then they like do it unprotectively and make dumb decisions, and then they know that like they know that they're going to get pregnant, so they get pregnant and then they get an abortion, and then let's say they just go it and do it again. Like they know what they're doing, they just think every single time, oh, I'm just going to go get an abortion.
Majority of abortions are a person's first abortion, and 51% of all abortions, contraceptive was used.
Well, I believe that if you're gonna practice unsafe sex, you should have to deal with the consequences.
Why should someone be forced to sustain pregnancy against their will? Why do you think that's ethical?
Because they're the ones engaging in that particular thing that results in the child.
Sex has more than just the purpose of procreation.
And there's ways to prevent that.
Right, but if someone was using birth control, would you now give them an exception to have an abortion?
No.
So you really don't care if someone's
Because
using birth control.
because everybody, if you read the things, it even says on birth control that it doesn't 100% effectively work.
Correct. So yeah, I don't know why when I said that sex has more than just one purpose of procreation, you said, well, there are ways to protect yourself if you don't care
And
that when someone is protecting
only
themselves.
that, but why should it just be the woman's decision? Most women just decide, oh, I'm gonna get an
Because it's their
abortion
body.
without asking the father. Like,
Because it's
imagine.
their body.
Yeah, but it's also his creation too.
There's no ownership when it comes to the fetus. If he wants it so bad, why can't she remove
They
it?
both have
and then give it to
the
him?
same genes that created the child. It's not the father's fault that he
But
can't get pregnant.
he cannot control what she does with her body. How old are you?
I'm 18.
What year were you born?
2004.
Yeah, it took too long there, sorry.
I think we have time for one more.
Thank you. It actually did turn out pretty good.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Welcome.
I have a question about the virginity as a form of misogyny.
Okay.
So, if I'm a virgin, how does that make me misogynistic?
So virginity as a concept historically has been essentially prescribed to women. I would even argue that it's a trait of femininity. And ultimately, it's a tool derived from the patriarchy in order to control and objectify women and girls.
Wait, so you're saying only women can be virgins?
No, I'm saying the concept of virginity. I mean, I think virginity is like an objective thing, would be very hard to prove. I think it's very subjective and arbitrary. But to say that it's something you possess and then the next day it's something you don't possess, I don't think you can quantify that.
Okay. I'm just confused on how is that misogynistic because you said that it was a term used for like I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me on how being a virgin is either bad or good.
It's a concept that was developed by men in order to objectify and control women. So if we
It's
look
not
at
a
prominent, one
concept
second,
if
if we look at prominent figures of virginity, that would be like the Virgin Mary, the constellation Virgo. These are very much images of women. If we look at historic definitions of virginity, then it is typically an unmarried maiden or an unwed girl. If we even look at prescriptions of virginity within society, we can even see when it comes to marriage that a woman wearing a white dress is representative of her purity, of not being tainted. And when we like even the construction of virginity testing is only applied to women. It's not applied to men.
so it's not applied to men whatsoever.
I said virginity testing. I think
Oh,
now
testing. Okay, sorry. I
I
didn't
think
hear that.
now purity culture is starting to be more inclusive to men, because religious sects are seeing that membership is decreasing as education increases. So they're trying to include men within purity culture to maintain certain membership ideas.
Oh, wow, they can read that I'm 16. Good job. But I just kind of, it just didn't really make sense to me because either way, if you're born or not, you're still a virgin being a male or a female. And because it's looked at
When are you
from,
not a virgin?
huh?
When are you? What? Okay, bye.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi, how
welcome.
you doing? So
Hi, how are you?
basically, I'm good, thank you. So basically, what I want to debate is, for me, my opinion on feminism is it's a hate group slash organization,
Okay.
and the reason behind that is because of typically what they advocate for is usually either taking something away from men or giving them more power over men, if you would like to say that.
What are they
A
taking
good
away from
example
them?
of that is the Amber Heard case with Johnny Depp.
What are they
How
taking away from them?
typically what feminists advocate for is more power. If you look at the laws and everything,
So feminism wants to address the power structure within the patriarchy.
well, could
Do
I just
you?
ask you then, what do you advocate for when you call yourself a
Well, wait.
feminist?
No, we're talking about your opinion here. We're not
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
my opinion. So do you acknowledge that within a patriarchal society that men hold dominant positions and a majority of power in multiple sectors, economic, political, and social?
Of course, of course.
Then
And
how is
also
women
built.
saying that we want
Go ahead.
that we don't want to essentially submit to a hierarchy where men hold power? How is that unjust?
Well, I would just where is this power that
You
females
just
do not
agreed
have?
to it a sentence ago.
Yes, because that's how our country was formed by men putting up the electrical posts, men building houses. Of course, men are
That's
more
a weak
powerful.
argument.
How is that a weak
So
argument? You're
you just said
yeah,
that you recognize that men hold power in economic, political, and social situations. And then when
right.
I said feminism wants to challenge that power dichotomy and not submit to where men are the dominant possessors of power, then you kind of step back on your previous statement. It's like, well, where do men hold power? You either, like, I don't understand why you agree with it. Then I make my statement, and then all of a sudden now you disagree.
Dude, my thing is mainly just like obviously men are in power. Like that's how society was
Great.
formed.
So what is your
You're
issue
telling me
with women
females were
saying that we don't want men to have all the power? Like how
there's
is that an
no issue
issue
with
for you?
that. It's just
Great.
that's typically not what feminism is. Like they're not advocating for men not having
Then give
power.
me specifically what we're advocating for.
They're advocating for like the whole premise behind feminism is equality, correct?
I would say it's the advancement of women.
The advancement of women. So you're not fighting for equality then, you're fighting for power? Power over
No, I would say that so there's lots of different types of feminisms, which is why I think you don't know much about it because you're categorizing it as one idea. I
Okay.
don't believe that the best society is structured based on hierarchies. So no, I don't think there should be power dynamics.
Okay. See, that's hard for me to articulate because, yeah, there's obviously different groups with different beliefs and ideologies, but mainly what I see is feminism is mainly about females. Oh, go slay, girl! Like like it's not
Yeah, what is
like
wrong with female empowerment?
there's nothing wrong with that, but
That's exactly what Slay Girl is female empowerment.
it's not about female empowerment though. Like, why is it just about female empowerment? Like,
That's one of the tenets of it. So I would say that when it comes to like modern feminism, the issues that we want to address are the social, political, and economic systemic issues that we face based on our gender, whether that is violence, healthcare outcomes, political representation. There's one other one I can't remember.
could you name like one law that females have that is not like in your words equal to the male?
Yeah, so I can name a couple. I would say that women do not have the civil rights to be free from gender-based violence. I would say women also do not have the civil rights to have access to reproductive health care. And I would say that women are very invisible when it comes to certain sectors in regards to our health and economic prosperity.
Sorry, could you restate that? Could you repeat that?
Sure, I'll just give you the
All right.
first two because I
Yeah,
think that's
just
enough for you to work on.
that's fair enough.
I don't think that women have the civil protections to where they are not subjected to gender-based violence, and I don't think that women have the civil liberties to have access to reproductive health care.
Okay, so off that first one, could you give me an example of like that used in everyday life, like how they don't have
So
access to that?
we can look at, are you familiar with Gonzalez v. Castle Rock?
I'm not, unfortunately, no.
So Gonzalez v. Castle Rock, essentially, Jessica, I think her first name was Jessica. Jessica Gonzalez had a restraining order against her ex-husband that covered her and their 3 daughters. He actually kidnapped them from their playground at school. She called the police, and they refused to enforce the restraining order. So to make a long story short, she called the police 4 times, actually went down to the police station once, and they refused to enforce the restraining order. And then later her ex-husband went into a police station, committed suicide by cop, and when they discovered when they recovered his truck, they found her 3 daughters had been murdered by him. Their bodies were in the truck. So she sued the police department of, I think it was Castle Rock, Colorado, I went
Okay.
all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that the police were not legally required to enforce a restraining order.
And like, see, that's hard for me to articulate as well because given the situation that you just explained, like that's just like something that like commonly should not be done. So I don't see like that's a rare instance of
It's
like
not a rare instance. Are you familiar with the term femicide?
femicide. No, I'm not.
So when women experience homicide,
Okay.
it's typically because they are of their gender. If we look at how men are murdered and how women are murdered, women are typically murdered by their domestic partner as well as family members. So by people we know, whereas men are typically murdered by strangers. So because it's gender-based violence, there's essentially the United States isn't making any kind of meaningful policy to where women receive protection from that type of violence.
Okay, but then again, it's like, how are you going to receive protection from someone that you chose to be with? Like, no one's going to force a grown adult to.
I think that's inherently misogynistic because now
Okay.
you're essentially putting the accountability on women for men's poor
Okay.
behavior. You are shaming women for making the choice of being with someone who is domestically violent rather than shaming men for being violent.
So can I ask you, if you were in a domestic relationship where a man beats you, you would not take any fault into choosing that you had to be with that person?
Can you tell me when the most dangerous time for a
You're
woman
ignoring my
is?
question, though.
No, I am going to answer your question, I
Okay,
promise
yeah,
you.
no problem.
Can you tell me what the most dangerous time is for a woman in a domestic violence situation?
I would assume past, like, sundown.
It's when she leaves. When women try to leave domestic violence
Oh,
relationships
okay.
or have left, that is when they are killed.
But then
So saying
again,
it's
like,
your fault for not leaving, the situation has become so bad to where women can't leave because they'll die.
okay, but there
So I
is.
like to call this essentially endangered women. And again,
Okay.
society does nothing to protect endangered women. Typically, if there's a domestic dispute, it's often might result in an arrest. But when it comes to domestic violence, very little jail time is given. I would also recommend that there is no ankle monitoring. So
Okay.
many men are still able to stalk and gain access to their partner and ultimately unalive them.
So that goes back to my previous premise, though. Like, you still decided to be with this person. That, like, I don't understand. Like, yeah, okay, maybe
You didn't
like
listen to a
there
thing I
is
said.
there
Like, if
is
you
no
think
there
that
is
men just
definitely
go
things
up to
that men
women
can do.
and say, like, hey, I'm an abuser, I'm here to psychologically destroy you and to physically assault you. Do you want to be my wife? And women are just like, oh, yes, please. Like, give me a fucking break.
Okay, fair enough.
For you to say that, like, you literally know nothing about domestic violence, and it's so
I actually
misogynistic
see
again
that is honestly it's more
place
closer to
the
me than you
accountability.
think, actually. And
I've asked you
the
very
main
simple questions. You might
situations
have
with that
personal
is
experience with it, but you don't have any educational
okay.
experience
So
in it. So for you to place the
mainly the women
accountability of
actually
domestic
decide
violence on
not to
women
leave, to
is
be honest.
misogynistic. You should be shaming men more for being so abusive that they
Oh,
kill their
100%.
partners. You're not
100%. I'm
doing
not
that.
saying that they're in the
You're not
right.
doing that.
I'm just saying women do have to take some accountability for choosing to
You're
be with someone.
victim blaming. You are victim blaming. That is problematic.
How am I victim blaming?
You are blaming the victim for the situation that they were placed in.
Yes, because there is certain
Yes,
things that
you
you can
just
do.
admitted it. Have the day you deserve. My kid, I would love to yell at you more, but that's fucking checkmate, my guy. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, for following, for liking. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, I will be going live a lot more. I think I'll post a schedule on Instagram if you want to follow me there. Would appreciate your support. Follow me on YouTube. Join the Discord. Please check out the podcast I have with my fellow TikToker Jovan every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I do have my son this weekend, so unfortunately I won't be able to stream, but I will be back Monday. Love you all. Stay safe. Enjoy the sunshine. Get out there.
give those fucking misogynistic, patriarchy holding men the middle finger every chance you get. Bye.